Hey there, Juan Morales here, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about something that's very important, especially because as entrepreneurs today, and when we are leading a market, and we are thought leaders and all this stuff, the whole name of the game is value. And it's about delivering value to our audience, something that they value. But most people, what we do, and I include myself in this, is that we think that value is education. But what really happens is that education is only one form of value. Now, here's what happens. When you focus only on education, you come off as someone who all they're trying to do is teach and teach and teach, and after a while it gets boring. As a matter of fact, you see this happen all the time when people are doing a lot of teaching and it seems like they can't really talk about anything else, or they can't get the attention of their market in any other way. And look, at the end of the day, I get it. I teach a lot and I work with my clients, and this is I would call it the primary form of value that gets delivered when you're working with someone, especially in these fields where you're helping with information, strategy, advice, stuff like that, right? Education is going to be one of them, but it's not the only one. And most people don't have any idea of other ways of delivering value that they could be a part of, and they could use and then switch it up and keep their tribe and their people a lot more motivated, a lot more engaged, and a lot more willing to buy other stuff, because the connection with the prospect grows a lot faster when you're shifting the ways that you're delivering value. So let me cover at least some of them, some of the ones that I've identified that I think make a huge difference for you and can make a huge difference for anybody who's listening to this. Okay? So the first type of value is entertainment. And this goes without saying, right? Entertainment in any which way. And there's tons of ways that people get entertained. That could be through jokes. That could be through stories. That could be through case studies. That could be through legends, right? That could be through all kinds of things that you can talk about, right? But the point is, you always want to be entertaining people, because that's another type of value that most people don't consider. Another type of value is motivation, right? How often do people struggle to feel that they're on the right path and they're doing the right thing and they're doing it for the right reason? A lot of people fail that test, and when they go through those moments where they feel low in the motivation department, that's when this value comes in, and the fact that you charge them up, the fact that you embolden them and you power them back up to say, you know what, you can do this and you will do this and you shall overcome, that makes a huge value piece for people. And it's an incredible way of developing that rapport and that connection with your tribe. Because at the end of the day, if you're motivating them, right, you never know who's waiting for that. This is something that I really got when I started doing this podcast and I started doing the episodes and everything. Because what I realized is so many people, even though they didn't necessarily like the post when I posted it on my social media or gave me any feedback right off the bat, in private, so many people told me of other episodes and other times and all these other things where they come and they tell me in private, hey, that was great. That was just what I needed today. And that episode is not the one that I did on that particular day. It was just a motivational piece that was in there for people to consume, because, again, it is valuable to them, especially to them, right? The next one, engagement, right? People love to be heard, and people love to be understood, and people want to be a part of the discussion. And if you can bring them in by asking them their opinion, what they think about something, what they consider about something, right? It gives them a voice. It gives them a platform where they can start talking of the stuff that probably nobody else wants to talk to them about. But now they get to share their opinions and do all that thing. And that in itself has a lot of value. The next one is commentary. Incredibly enough, this is something that we see very often in TV, and we see it in the news media and all that stuff, which is commentary, right? But you have to know what it is, and that's really the problem with the news, but that's a topic for a different episode. But it's opinion, right? What's your opinion about something? What's your commentary? What do you think of the current state of affairs? What do you think of what's happening and the changes that have happened recently? People care about those things because, especially in a specialized field, they want to know what leaders think about what's happening and where they see this going and where they see certain things moving and how they see certain things occurring. So that goes a lot into commentary, which of course leads to prediction, which is another type of value. Prediction is when you can go in and you can say, hey, listen, I think that in the next 3 years, this is going to be the biggest thing. Now, is that not a valuable piece of information? Of course it is. Whether it's right or wrong, who cares? The point is, it's another way of letting your audience know that you have value to give them, that you can deliver that value to them, and it doesn't feel boring. It doesn't feel like it's the same thing over and over. Because now, instead of just educating them all the time, now you can shift into making commentary of what's happened in the past month, what's happened in this year in the industry. And they want to know how you feel about it. In many cases, because that leads to either motivation or awareness of the market being on a free fall, if that's your opinion of where they're going to go. Right? And if your prediction is the market's going to grow, then that'll give them optimism. If your prediction is the market's not going to last very long, or it's going to change, or these things are going to happen, then that'll move them into action. And of course, if you're strategic about it, you can make it in such a way where that action that they take is to actually buy something from you. Right? Okay, so next one. I have 1, 2, 3 more. Okay, so next one. Human connection. Right? Human connection. That's what we all crave. That's why some of the stories that we tell are about this mundane stuff, or what feels like mundane stuff, especially if you have a business-oriented mind. But the truth is, these stories are what connects us as human, is how we feel about certain things, is how we felt about certain things. This is where we can tell them about how hard it was for us to overcome challenges, how hard it was for us to overcome certain barriers that were in our way, and how we overcame them. And by sharing that with other people and sharing that we too are human and we're not this machine that just knows how to crank out profits, but rather we are also humans, that creates that tighter bond, and that, of course, is a ton of value. The next one is hope and optimism. Right? Hope and optimism. When you share hope and optimism with your audience, that's value, because that's in short supply nowadays. Especially after COVID, especially after the things that have happened in the recent years, that lots of people start thinking that the sky's falling on them. And if you can be the person that brings that hope and optimism and gets them back on track, that's going to change the dynamic completely. Because if they start the day thinking that they're in the wrong path, that they should change, that they should do something else, that they shouldn't be thinking about X or Y or whatever, right? And now they're about to give up. And all of a sudden your message comes in and you start talking with hope and optimism about what's happening now and how big you see the opportunity expanding, how this market's going to be bigger than ever before, how this is the perfect time for all these things. Well, now they got buy-in back into their project. They bought back into the thing that they were doing already. And that is extremely, extremely valuable when you do it with people. And the next one is the insider stuff. Everybody likes to be on the inside. Everybody wants to learn the insider stuff. So whether it's education itself or just commentary or just sharing a secret, that always helps. It always helps. So now with this list, and let me just go over it again: entertainment, motivation, engagement, commentary, prediction, human connection, hope and optimism, and insider secrets, you have a whole bunch of ways that you can deliver value to your market. And the key to doing this and doing it well is to cycle through these, or use them in such a way that your market never gets bored, because it's not all about business with you. It's not all about educating them. You also care about them as humans, and you share and reveal how you are as a human. You're also motivating them. You're also getting them on point. And that's going to feel as a full effect of the value that you have. Now, there may be others, and as time goes by, I'll probably develop those and I'll put them in a future episode. But for now, with these elements, these vectors of value, like I like to call them, you are now capable of really going through several different types of value and just keep putting value out there in your marketplace without having to be boring, without having to repeat yourself, and without falling on deaf ears, because you're connecting a lot faster by doing this like this. Anyway, that's it for me today. Till next time, this is Juan Morales signing out. I'll see you on the next one.